All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Close. It is June 23rd. We've had a variety of things happen over the past few hours since the market opened that have been quite interesting, to say the least, in terms of how the stock market is reacting. And quite frankly, the reason why everything is basically up, if not slightly down or flat, is because we have some pretty big updates in terms of Israel-Iran. That's not going to lead to more escalation, but rather the big part of the update is that it feels like we're kind of done. I say that with obviously a grain of salt because we're not actually done, but the market is interpreting what has been happening as pretty much over, which is why we had an intraday dip of about 3 to 4% across the market. S&P was down about 1%. You probably saw that around 12:30 p.m. And now we're kind of back to normal. S&P 500 right here, 599. SPX is above 6,000. Tessie, great day, still up 9%, even if it's not at 357. HIMS, crappy day. We did get a response from the CEO. We'll talk about that in a second. NVIDIA right here, 143. Robinhood was down at 5%, 1 point, now down 2.84%. And then Palantir, 139.44. Let's get that update in terms of what's happening with the broader market from a geopolitical perspective, and then we'll keep going from there.
Hey, Scott, so the U.S. had been bracing for this, but we can confirm now that this was the first Iranian attack directly on U.S. forces. It was both short and long-range missiles that were headed at Al Udeid, a U.S.-run airbase in Qatar. There's no current cause for concern now, according to Qatar's Interior Ministry, just in the last few moments. As you said, those missiles were intercepted, and just in the last few moments, two defense officials also told NBC that they don't believe there was any damage done to that airbase at all. Now, the U.S. is on alert for additional attacks throughout the region. Two White House officials had told NBC News that the President Trump has been monitoring potential attacks not only in Qatar, but also in Bahrain and Iraq, potentially other countries as well. We know the airspace is shut down in all of those countries currently, as well as in the UAE and Kuwait. So potential concern for additional attacks throughout the region, although these are the only confirmed attacks as of now are those in Qatar. Now, Scott, we are also following reports that from the New York Times and others that the Iranians may have given the Qataris a heads up that this attack was coming. The U.S. may have even been given a heads up as well in addition to that attack. We have not confirmed that independently, but three officials did tell the New York Times that this was meant to be a symbolic strike back at the U.S., but one that was done in such a way that allowed all sides sort of an exit ramp here. Again, we have not confirmed that report, but it does raise the...
So those reports have been pretty much confirmed across the media. And basically, this is what's happening, guys. Iran planned the attacks today on the American airbase in Qatar with Qatari officials. They gave advance notice that the attacks were coming to minimize casualties. The goal, as she said, was to symbolically show they could strike back at the U.S., but at the same time not create enough damage for retaliation, kind of what we thought would happen in the morning. No Iranian attack was recorded at any other U.S. base other than Qatar, which makes sense because they told Qatar, hey, we're going to do this. And the U.S. knew about this pretty much all day. They expected it. The market didn't know about this, which is why we got that intraday dip at around 12 p.m. And by basically 2 p.m., this was pretty much resolved. S&P went back above 6,000. Oil fell below 60. Oil was at 75 in the morning. Right now, oil is at 68.80. It's down 7%. There's no Strait of Hormuz that's being closed. There's no supply-demand imbalance that the market was afraid about over the weekend. Like, it's kind of like, all right, we're done. We are done. And so could there still be some more retaliation? Could there still be more things with Israel that happen? Sure. But the broader feeling by the market right here is that, yeah, we're kind of done. And Iran they've decided, okay, like we did our symbolic attack to kind of show the Iranian people that, like, hey, we can fight back. When in reality, you know, that wasn't meant to actually hurt the United States. And this, we just got this quote about 30 minutes ago. A senior Iranian official just now said, Iran is the necessary rationality, or has the necessary rationality, to begin diplomacy after punishing the aggressor. If they seek negotiations, Israeli and U.S. attacks must stop. I mean, this is hilarious, bro. Basically, Iran saying, hey, we got them back. We attacked them. And now if they want to talk, we can talk. Now, if they want to have some diplomacy, we can have some diplomacy. But what happens in terms of who's the winner? Probably the United States, because if all the sources are correct and the U.S. Intelligence Committee is not incorrect about this, we have severely hurt the Iranians' ability to create a nuclear weapon. And we have pushed back the progress many years. And Iran got their attack off today with not hurting any American citizens, not really damaging any U.S. bases, and now we're done. And the stock market gets to move forward. Oil came back down. The S&P is back over 6,000. I mean, literally, this was just a show today that we had to go through in terms of the symbolism for Iran to say, hey, we attacked them back. But in reality, I think most of the Iranian citizens would be, smart enough to realize that this was all for show. This wasn't a real thing. And the Iranian government is not really the ones with the power here, especially now that they don't have their nuclear facilities. So that's what we got going on from the geopolitical perspective. And basically, yeah, they don't want no smoke. They don't want no smoke. So like, it's pretty incredible, but this is how it played out. Now, VG, I asked Kris why VG was down, and he didn't really have an answer. VG's down 14% right here. I guess it's because, I don't know the most about VG, but I guess you could say oil prices are down to an extent, and that could be bad for VG. Again, I'm not the biggest expert on this. Kris just said the whole market was down, so that was kind of his logic for why VG was taking a little bit of a hit. Granted, VG was down before the strikes happened, so I think there's a deeper reason here, but if anyone has any theories, let me know. I don't think there's any company-specific news. I think this more so has to do with oil prices, but maybe those going down about 7% could be leading to some of this going down. Maybe even Trump's rhetoric about drill, baby, drill, more supplies, maybe. But VG is more about like transporting the oil, not creating the oil itself. So I think there's a lot more nuances here, and I just don't have the specific reason for why this one is taking a 14% hit. Doug says VG is down because it was up 100% in the last few months. That's a better reason than anything I just said. People took some profits, which is fair. People took some profits. Okay, I bought a new stock today. I bought UNH. I bought some spreads on UNH. So these were the spreads I was talking about last night with Steve. I bought 10 of them. Nothing too crazy. A little bit of how much is this? A $10,000? No, it's $8,000. So I got 10 spreads at $823. So call it an $8,000 bet. It's a 5X if UNH gets to 460 by December 2027. Don't know a ton about UNH. I do know that they're trading at 11 times free cash flow, which is insanity for a company like this. They could have a lot of headlines that take them down further. I kind of think down 60% is hopefully the bottom. We'll see if it's not. But I kind of like a 50% move in 2.5 years on UNH for a 5X. So I bought 10 of those, got them at 823 average. And yeah, bought the 420, sold the 460 against it. And that is my spread. And thankfully I didn't buy it last week when UNH was 330. So, could UNH go back to 270, 280? Yeah, but that's like, the actual bottom was 249. If we get to 270 again, that would be like legit, sort of intense bear market territory for UNH. So hopefully this 290 to 300 range is a little bit of a, support block for UNH at this point. Tesla right here, 348, up 8%. Now, Hims, this one has just been demolished all day. Here's a little bit of update on Hims, and then we will keep going from there.
AP, we'll see you again soon. To Christina Partsinevelos now for a look at the biggest names moving into this close. Christina?
I've got a big name. Shares of Hims & Hers plummeting 32% today after Novo Nordisk announced it was ending its partnership with the telehealth company. Novo Nordisk raised concerns around both the legality and the safety of Hims & Hers sales of knockoff versions of their Wegovy. It's the popular weight loss drug. Novo Nordisk shares also falling today about 5.5%. Shares of crypto and fintech.
So Andrew Dudum, the CEO, responded. He has a certain take on how Novo's framing this. And this is what he had to say. By the way, Nick B Investing, thank you for the gifted 5 memberships. 5 of you guys just got gifted memberships. Thank you, Nick B Investing, for the gifted memberships. Also, Microsoft all-time highs today. Microsoft was at like 470 in the morning. Now it's at 485. So incredible day for Microsoft. Google did get to 162. Now it's back at like 164. But Microsoft, great day, and it's been a great year for this one as a Mac 7. All right, so CEO of Hims says, we are disappointed to see Novo Nordisk management misleading the public. In recent weeks, Novo commercials team increasingly pressured us to control clinical standards and steer patients to Wegovy, regardless of whether it was clinically best for patients. We refuse to be strong-armed by any pharmaceutical company's anti-competitive demands that infringe on the independent decision-making of providers and limit patient choice. We take our role of protecting the ability of providers and patients to control individual treatment decisions extremely seriously, and we will not compromise the integrity of our platform to appease a third party or preserve a collaboration. The health and wellness of individuals always comes first. We will continue to offer access to a range of treatments, including Wegovy, to ensure providers can serve the individual needs of patients. So here's my question to you guys. Are you buying it? All right, not buying the stock, but are you buying his explanation here? Basically, he's like, hey, Novo was trying to strong arm us into pushing their shit. We're willing to sell it, but we don't want to be forced into selling it because Hims obviously has a lot more of a personalization element to the brand, and they can't just recommend artificial things for their users that are not personalized. Novo got mad at that, realized it wasn't worth keeping the partnership, and now they're accusing Hims of like deceptive marketing and selling fake versions of what they already created. There's a lot of nuance to it, and I'm not saying they don't have a point, but Andrew's argument is like, these guys were trying to strong arm us. We're not going to we're not going to be controlled by a big pharma company. And his lack of wanting to not be controlled by a big pharma company left investors down 30% today, but nonetheless, 34%. New low of the day right here, 42.29. I'm curious if people think this is the right explanation or this is the way to approach Hims. And also let me know if you bought the dip. But I don't know, dude. I mean, there's a lot of chatter today on Twitter. You got some people that are dumping their position. They think this is a thesis breaker. I have not read up enough to have an opinion yet on this. Quite frankly, dude, I was cleaning up my LinkedIn. I'm getting ready to come back to LinkedIn, and I was like trying to revamp my LinkedIn. I found some shit I posted years ago. I got to show you guys some of this stuff. Some of this content's gold from 5 years ago. But yeah, I just didn't have time to read until the Hims stuff. But I did see some people saying, you know what, I'm done, bro. There's no moat here. This partnership ruins the thesis. This is not going to be the Netflix of health if they can't secure these partnerships with big pharmaceutical companies. And then other people were like, this is a massive overreaction. This partnership is not the reason that the company was going to become the behemoth, the Netflix of health, or whatever that people have been saying. And I think people are split 50-50. I'm not looking for a new job. I'm just trying to, LinkedIn has been on my list for 2025 I finally sat down today. I was like, you know what, let me clean up LinkedIn. So we'll be coming back to that platform. Anyway, that's what's going on in the context of Hims. We'll probably be analyzing it for the coming weeks, but this one down 34% on the day. Rocket Lab, great day. We got 3 minutes until the market closes. Rocket Lab up 9%. Wow. Did not see that for the past couple hours. 32.93. Maybe it breaks that 33 level in the next 3 minutes, but still a close above 32.50 would be incredible. Duolingo. Why is Duolingo down 5%, bro? Maybe it's because I ranted about how learning languages is stupid this morning. I feel like some hedge fund manager saw that rant. They're like, you know what? Learning languages is stupid. Let's just dump Duolingo. I don't know why that's down 5%, but that's down 5%. I feel like there's some company specific news. Duolingo doesn't fall that aggressively. AMD right here up 1.2%. S&P back above 6,000. Again, this market doesn't care. SoFi, nice reversal from 1480 to 1530. That one's green. Grab, decent day, up 1.54%. Google right here, 165, basically down 1% of the day. Amazon down 0.5%. Meta, 698, trying to get back to 700. We do have some updates on Meta. We'll talk about it in a second. Apple right here, 201. SMCI down 10% after raising $2 billion in a convertible note. That stock getting hit from that. And then Tessie, 348, really the winner of the day, based on their Robotaxi momentum. Now, Circle was at 298 in the morning when we left. Now it's at 262, still up 10% on the day. But that just goes to show you it could go from 298 to 262 and still be up 10% on the day, which is pretty incredible. But it is down from those highs and did not crack over the 300 level. Why is Hood down? Honestly, I don't know why Hood's down. I think Hood just, in general, kind of started falling. I almost bought the Hood dip, but then I was like, is this really a dip? But that, and like when everything started falling, I think Hood got to like 75. And I was like, oh, let me buy some. It's down from 78. But then I was like, this is like not a dip. Like we should wait a little bit. And obviously it reversed because the market didn't care that Iran had planned an attack with the United States in coordination. So we moved on from there. But I think Hood cooling off is not that crazy. Again, it's at basically all-time highs. So staying at these levels is not the craziest thing to me, but it also could be down simply because of the fact that a lot of these high flyers, Oscar, Hims, yeah, as Doug says right here, Nebius, all these names are down. Oscar, by the way, how did this one get to? This one was down 4% as well today. 4% as well. Tesla right here, 348, and then Palantir 139.92. All right, folks, here we go. We got some more headlines to talk about. Monday, June 23rd. Thank you all for being here. The stock market is now closed. All right, there we go. Markets are closed on the day. And let's see what we've got going on. Sam, thank you for becoming a channel member. Appreciate it. Thank you for being a channel member. And Nunzio, thanks for the $5 super chat. What was your UNH call? My UNH call was a spread, call debit spread, 420. I bought that call. I sold the 460 against it, December 2027. I paid $8.23 of premium. So if the stock gets to 460 in 2.5 years, that $8.23 will become $40 of max profit, which is about a 5x, 4.8x from here. All right, let's see how the market closed. Robinhood 76.33 down about 2.8%. Palantir just below 140, 139.70. Tessie 348. Again, if you're heavy in Tesla, you got to say this is a great day. I mean, Tesla got all the way down to like 340 when that whole dip happened because of the attacks and then just reversed. So the momentum was incredibly strong right here on Tesla. Even NVIDIA went green, 144.21. HIMS closed the day, wow, below 42. Below freaking 42. There you go. HIMS right here, 41.88. We'll do a ETF update in a second. Visa is actually green today. Okay, not too bad. Visa got some love, 1.53%. S&P 599, SoFi 1538, Grab closed at 456, Amazon 208, Reddit, wow, 134. Again, high beta stocks definitely taking a little bit of a hit today. ELF was up about 2.7%, Apple 201, TLT up a little bit on the day as the 10-year came down. Circle up 10% on the day. Pinterest was down 0.5%. Enphase was down another 3.6%. Microsoft all-time highs on Microsoft, 485. VG, it closed down 9.52% on the day. Coinbase at 307. The Qs, 531. Roblox, 103. Uber, 85. Wow, ASTS got to 50. I didn't see that all day. Congrats to the Space Mob. There you go. It closed at 50. What was the close? The exact close on ASTS was 50.20. 50.20. And then Rocket Lab, did we get 33? We got 32.68. 32.68 on Rocket Lab. Spotify all-time highs. Yeah, you are right. Wow, Spotify up 3.5%. That means Netflix probably moved with it. Netflix right here. Yep, Netflix up 1.8%, 12.53. Netflix 12.62 all-time high. So basically at those levels as well. Trump just posted. All right, let's see what Trump posted. Not a bad day in the markets. Not a bad day. And we'll talk a little bit more about the resiliency of the markets. But again, the attacks back and forth really have not made the market feel that it's a meaningful reason to sell equities. Okay, Trump tweets, I'd like to thank the highly respected Emir of Qatar for all that he has done in seeking peace for the region. Regarding the attack today at the American base in Qatar, I am pleased to report that in addition to no Americans being killed or wounded, very importantly, there have also been no Qataris killed or wounded. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Okay, so that's the first tweet, basically him acknowledging, hey, nothing happened. And the reason nothing happened is because the Iranians told Trump what they were going to do. And so everything was coordinated, but he's letting the American people know that nothing happened from that perspective. The other tweet that he just posted, Iran has officially responded to our obliteration of their nuclear facilities with a very weak response, which we expected and have very effectively countered. There have been 14 missiles fired, 13 were knocked down, and one was set free because it was headed in a non-threatening direction. I'm pleased to report that no Americans were harmed and hardly any damage was done. Most importantly, they've gotten it all out of their system, and there will hopefully be no further hate. It's wild, bro. He's saying they got it out of their system. I want to thank Iran for giving us I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost. Dude, what? This is insanity. You have the president thanking another country for telling him in advance they were going to attack. And the president's acknowledging, look, I know you guys needed to attack, so thanks for letting me know so that we could make sure all of our people were good. And wink, wink. It's very good that you told us, because if you didn't tell us, we would have, really had to retaliate. And then the other country is happy that they got the attack because they're going to manipulate it via their state media to tell the Iranian citizens, look, America attacked us, but we attacked back. This is just, it's insanity. I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody to be injured. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region, and I will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Goodness gracious, bro. Goodness gracious. To be honest, this is a big win for Trump. This is a big win for Trump from a political capital perspective. If he was able to get rid of the Iranian nuclear facilities and basically let Iran do their little attack and have no casualties or American bases really get hurt, then this is kind of done. I mean, again, anything can escalate, but from the market's perspective, I think the reason why the S&P ended green today is because, all right, this is over with. We're good. And now the threat of a nuclear Iran, which is just bad for, in general, global stability, obviously Middle Eastern stability, which has an impact on stocks, that's also kind of out the window. And all the Middle Eastern countries like the Saudis, the Qataris, they love the fact that Iran doesn't have the ability to make nuclear weapons, or at least it's significantly delayed. Obviously, Israel loves it. And now the United States loves it. And the market didn't really get hit. So, I mean, look, there can be more damaging side effects from this, but this was a show today, which is what we all witnessed. And it was a show that was coordinated by the Qataris, the Iranians, and the United States in order to just move on from everything right now. And it is what it is. NVIDIA right here, 144. Palantir, 139.79. Robinhood, 76.43. Him still going down after hours, 41.78. S&P, 599. SoFi, 15.34. And then Googs, 164 after hours. It's kind of wild, right? Kind of wild. Absolutely freaking wild. He just tweeted again, congrats, world. It's time for peace. Congrats, world. It's time for peace. I mean, if this leads to more peace, you're definitely going to get a lot of people saying this was the right way to approach the situation. And if that leads to more political capital, then obviously that could be beneficial for the United States in a lot of different ways, and definitely for Trump. Now, so the next big thing is the armed base, or sorry, not the armed base. The attacks on the armed base are done, which now leads to the big beautiful bill. That seems to be the next big thing that we have to focus on. Let's get one final update on Iran, Israel, and then we will move on from there. Okay, let me just share this again. Okay, here it is.
Unfolding throughout the Middle Eastern region as the Iranians launch both short and long-range missiles aimed specifically at the U.S.-run Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. We just, in the last few moments, heard from the president for the first time directly on this. He posted on social media. He said Iran has officially responded to our obliteration of their nuclear facilities with what he called a very weak response, which we expected and have very effective, and there will encourage Israel to do this. The more notable part here, one of them at least, is saying that the U.S. did have a heads up from the Iranians. The president is confirming that there, and there had been some reporting around that this afternoon that the Iranians gave both the U.S. and the Qataris a heads up that this was coming. The way that that has been framed in reporting, especially by the New York Times and others, is that the Iranians needed a way to symbolically respond or retaliate to Saturday's attacks, but that they wanted to do it in some way that gave both sides an off-ramp or an exit ramp. So with the president confirming that now and suggesting that he wants to now proceed to peace and harmony in the region, it does raise the question of whether all of these parties, the U.S., Israel, and Iran, might be able now to get to the negotiating table to work on some sort of diplomatic solution. The White House was saying earlier today that is still their goal. That's what we have to wait and see if that comes next.
Okay.
Guys.
Megan Casella, thank you. And of course, that perhaps speaks to why we saw crude oil plunge today, and we saw
Oil's plunging because the market's saying, all right, we're done, bro. It's a nothing burger. It's a nothing burger. I mean, if you went to Burger King and ordered the Iran special, guess what you would get? Nothing. Because it's a nothing burger. I mean, this is just incredible. And the market barely took a little bit of a dip. I mean, the worst we got was 590 on the S&P last night. It's the worst we got. That's it. And now we're back. They shot 6 rockets. All of them were intercepted today because, again, the U.S. knew that they were shooting those rockets. And markets dropped intraday on the expectation that this was some escalation, but in reality, it was just like a staged, scripted show that needed to get done with in order to move on. Hims right here. Goodness gracious, dude. Does this not look like it wants to go below 40? 36% down on the day. I mean, this is ugly, bro. This is ugly. I tried to get Nate on the show today, but he couldn't make it. I'm putting in the chat if you bought the Hims dip. Did you buy the Hims dip? Hopefully he can make it tomorrow and we can get his thoughts. But I think a lot of the Hims community is split on this one. You know, there's not that many. So like all stock communities have these defining moments that either isolate parts of the community or ingratiates more people into the community, either by new people coming in and buying the dip, which I did see a lot of people who didn't have a Hims position do today, or people doubling down. Tesla's had this, Palantir has had this, Robinhood had this. I mean, there are some moments where like you got to really decide, do you want to be long on this stock? And I think today is one of those days for Hims. Down 37%, worst day in history, if I'm not wrong, for Hims. I think at like 27%, it was already the worst day in history for the stock. So this is one of those days where if you're a Hims shareholder, you have to ask yourself, do I really believe? And it happens pretty much in any stock you're going to be in. If you're in the name for 10 years, you're going to have these defining moments. And I don't think people have a definitive answer yet. 67% of you said no. You did not buy the Hims dip. 67% said no. Arnie, again, I showed this picture on Monday. Arnie, or not Monday. Yeah, today's Monday, but yeah, in the morning. Arnie posted this picture, which was pretty timely. He posted this on Saturday night asking, hey, is Hims just a marketing company? Where's the moat if most of the revenue is spent on marketing? Now, I don't think this is the bear case for Hims, but it goes to show you how fragile the narrative is. If a 30% drop, 36% drop can happen in one day based on losing one partnership, like I'm not the biggest expert on Hims, but that one part, I didn't think that one partnership is the biggest thesis of the stock. So either this is a massive overreaction and it will recover, or this thing is dead money for a while and maybe it has more pain to go. I don't think anyone has a definitive answer on this yet because there's still so many questions to be answered, especially because there's lawsuits coming up in regards to Hims as well. So this one definitely got hit today. And then you got the Oscars of the world that at one point was down 7%, ended up only going down 4.5. Now, this is a big moment for Oscar. This is one of the reasons I also didn't buy Oscar. I just don't know enough about it. I think the thesis makes sense. I think it's cheap, yada, yada. I like all the bull arguments I agree with, but do I really want to be long the name if it's not a trade? Because if it's a trade, whatever. But if you want to genuinely establish a position, you got to ask yourself, hey, do you know enough to care about it when it goes down 5% after going up 50% in a week? And Oscar's moment could be, their little 15 minutes of fame could be done if people don't care enough. But if it actually is that undervalued and people really want to establish a position, people will come in and buy this dip. Question's going to be how the market ultimately interprets it. I do think it's undervalued, though. I really do think Oscar is undervalued here. Part of the reason I bought UNH today is because I looked at both their growth rates, and Oscar's obviously growing a lot more than UNH, but UNH is just doing so much more free cash flow. And I feel like from an options perspective, a 5x on the stock going up 50% in 2.5 years, when the stock probably from a numerical perspective has no business being down here outside of all the headline stuff, that to me is a reasonable risk reward to take. And so that's why I bought those UNH spreads. But both stocks do seem undervalued here. Palantir right here, 139.88, Tesla 349, and then Hoodie 76.39 currently right now. And then yes, ASTS, we did get to 50. If you're in the space mob, you got to be pretty happy. You got to be pretty freaking happy about this. I mean, the partnerships over the past couple of weeks has also led to a lot of that momentum. All right, let's look at the ETFs and how we ended as of today. So I am down 0.34. Steve's down 2. Tanner's up 0.36. Matt's up 8. Kris is down 1.9. So Matt's 1, Tanner's 2, I'm 3. Kris is 4th. Steve is 5th. That's what we got going on right now. So Matt, Tanner, me, Kris, and then Steve. There you go. So that's what we got. Oh, how did Arrow do? That was another one of these IPOs. Arrow, yeah, that was up 20. It was down 10% in the morning, and then it ended up being up 20%. So even that one went up and down in a variety of different ways. Okay, now let's talk about the Fed. Because we had a variety of comments today around the Fed that were pretty exciting for anyone who was in the rate cut camp. I don't think we're going to get a rate cut until August, but the odds of it happening feel a little bit more likely than before. So you had Goolsby this morning who said we have a broad agreement that central bank independence is critical and we won't get partisan in battles over Fed policy. And then you had Michelle Bowman, we saw it in the morning open, who said, hey, I am open to a July cut. It's time to consider adjusting the policy rate. And I'm open to cutting rates as soon as the July FOMC meeting if inflation pressures stay contained. Now, oil prices going up is not the best for inflation pressures to stay contained, but it's been about a week of oil pressures. If that thing comes back down to 65, it's at 68 right now, they're going to have CPI and PPI be pretty damn good in the month of June as well, which could also be super bullish, right? And again, I think Trump's point right here is pretty obvious. Like, you don't have to cut by 100 basis points, but cut by 25. And if inflation reaccelerates, then you can pause or you can hike again if you really need to. But doing one baby cut is not going to create some inflation superstorm because we have a little bit of uncertainty about the tariffs. Like, that's just insanity. And trying to have the moral high ground here of saying we have to know what's going to happen with the tariffs is just a little bit ridiculous when you're data dependent and all the data is pointing to the fact that inflation is coming down. So I think the market's also pricing in, maybe that also helped today, kind of cushion the blow with all the headlines, is, hey, we got a rate cut that's possibly coming in July. Remember, Powell said last year when he cut in September that he should have cut in July. He said verbatim, we probably should have cut in July, which is why they were so aggressive in September. And so I wonder if they continue to make that that same mistake in 2025. Okay, put in the chat what anyone bought or sold today. Put in the chat what anyone bought or sold today. Again, I bought UNH spreads. That's pretty much it for me on the day. Oil is down 9%, but let me know what you guys bought or sold. 69% of you said you did not buy the HIMS dip. Oil is down currently right now. TQQQ also. How did that do today? Yeah, wow, that was up 3%. The Qs not really given the best entry if anyone's looking for a dip, but the Qs have kind of held up at this 525 to 530 range. I'll also do a poll right here on, do you think we cut in July? All right, let's see what people have bought. Hasi bought Marvell, 8,100 2027 spreads. I actually don't hate that. Kris bought some SoFi calls. We got HIMS and UNH. We got Googs. We got HIMS. We got ASML, Google, the Schwab Dividend Fund, MasterCard. We got Marvell. I see a lot of Marvells right here. Bought more Bitcoin. We got Martin buying Grab and AMD. AMD 132 to 129. It's having a hard time holding above 130, but it looks like it wants to break out once they finally get some momentum, which probably would be Q2 because the event has already happened. Zeta, how did this thing end up? I know a lot of you guys are looking at this one. I have not had time to look at it. Zeta right here, 20% of the day. I have no idea why it went up 20%, but advertising and marketing technologies. This one did have a good day. VG down about 14% on the day. I see a lot more UNHs, some Googs. Okay, so I see a ton of UNH, ton of hoods, ton of Googs, and ton of HIMS as well. Got some Misty today, sold 75 puts, 718. I don't hate that at all. Circle, shorted Circle. I'm too scared to short this thing, bro. I feel like this thing could still gain its momentum. But if you short it at 298 today, you're probably pretty happy because this one's doing well. Lon says 25K in QQQ, Grab, and SoFi. Family Adventure says SoFi, APLD. How did CoreWeave do? CoreWeave, wow, down 6%. Okay, even though CoreWeave's still basically very close to all-time highs. APLD down another 5% on the day. So some of these data center plays, Nebius as well, I think was down 5%. Nebius was down 1%. It was down 5% in the morning. That one recovered slightly. Some of those got hit today as well. I still don't know why VG's down, bro. I didn't get a specific reason or headline for it. But I think Dougie's answer is the best. People took some profits because this thing was $7 a month ago. And it was 19 in the pre-markets. HIMS right here, still down after hours, 35% on the day. The thing also about this narrative that's being formed around HIMS, or at least the narrative breakers that some people are claiming, is that so let me show you guys this post right here. So this guy says, HIMS, I'm out, very frustrated with management and have sold the remainder of my position. I'm irate with the Novo press release because if these allegations are true, it could be the end of the business's credibility to millions of customers, current and prospective, in an industry where that's all that matters. Some sweeping allegations from Novo Nordisk include illegal sham and unsafe and illegal foreign ingredients don't exactly inspire confidence. Now, granted, Novo could be lying about this. They could be wrong, but I could understand how someone who's deep in HIMS is concerned about that. He says, to me, this is a clear narrative violation and a story that may be deteriorating. God forbid if non-GLP revenue slows down as well, which is what Bank of America said this morning in their $28 downgrade. They think is going to happen in terms of going to the low teens by the second half of the year. And I would rather find other places for my money than here for now. I will need to see management make the right moves to recover my trust in them. So you got some people saying, I've lost trust in management off this. I mean, it really was a thesis breaker for some people. And from that perspective, I think that's why you just didn't get a lot of bulls coming in and buying the dip. Now, that guy could be wrong. But the point is, these are some of the perspectives of people that have been in this name for a while. I do not hold Reddit. I did hold it early on in the year, but I don't hold it anymore. I think it's just way too high beta in this environment. I like it, though. I like the name. I just really think it's a bit aggressive. In terms of its volatility, but also that's why people like it because it's volatile. AMD right here, 129.65. That one is also still up about 1%. I think they need a proper press release, to be honest. I'm not sure that post by Dudham was the smartest. I was also a bit confused by that. I was expecting like a real press release, not a post on Twitter. And I already read the post a couple minutes ago, so we talked about it. But the post was 3 paragraphs. I feel like a legit press release, at least I would say 7 to 8 paragraphs explicitly saying what Novo's doing, which is bad. I mean, I get you don't have to do a corporate press release for this type of stuff, but it did feel like this required your stock's down 30% on the day. Kind of felt like you need to go through the PR team and officially explain what the issue is. But the guy, the CEO was just like, hey, we're not going to be strong armed by big pharma. And I guess that is the response that we've got right now. I didn't love the response. I didn't hate the response. I just thought it needed more substance. And even if it wouldn't have saved the stock today, like I still felt it needed at least some more substance on the post. Easily could have been paid shills. There was a 20% short sale outstanding. That's fair as well. That is fair as well, Matt. What is the short float on? Let me confirm on VG. We know HIMS, the shorts double down. VG short float is 6.2%. HIMS went to an all-time high of short float today. So that was pretty aggressive. I mean, the short, look, you can't deny the shorts are winning today. Look at this. The shorts are absolutely winning today. This is a doubling down. You're likely going to get a record high for short shares borrowed by June 30th when the new one comes out. And I mean, they're winning. If you're short HIMS, you've been losing for the past 2 months. This is one of those days where you remember why you shorted it. And, you know, I don't know if the shorts believe that Novo partnership is going to be over, but if this is what they thought could be an issue, that issue has manifested itself here today. So that's what we got in the context of HIMS. Okay, so let's move on to a couple other things that we need to talk about in the context of what's going on in the market. In terms of most of the macro stuff, again, we talked about the Fed. We had great home sale data today. We had great PMI data, which was actually really supportive. Google, update on them, has cut their smart TV budget and reduced staff as it shifts focus and doubles down on YouTube. I love this headline today by the Googs. And the reason I love this headline is because, yeah, you should be focusing on YouTube, right? Like Google smart TVs are cool, but I doubt they're the kind of core thing that's driving incremental value for the business. And I think one of the things that people are pointing to that are bullish on Google is YouTube. And they keep mentioning, hey, there's a big moat in YouTube, which I agree. And doubling down and focusing on YouTube, I think would be important to differentiate a little bit from some of the declining search revenues. On top of that, we talked about this last night, but 200 billion times a day, people watch YouTube shorts. So that is continuing to gain more momentum. I don't watch YouTube shorts that much. I kind of find myself in Instagram reels sometimes, but 200 billion times a day is a lot of shorts. A lot of shorts. Now, granted, YouTube doesn't make all the money in the world on YouTube shorts. They make their advertising more so on long form content, and creators don't make a ton of money on YouTube shorts unless you like put up like lots and lots of views. But at least it's showing that engagement on the platform is pretty incredible. Okay, now here's a big update that I want to talk about, which is kind of crazy. And this thing, some of you guys were thinking about it this morning. I got a lot more updates on what's going on. OpenAI actually put out a statement on what's happening, and they had to kind of address it because it was not the best thing in the world. So if you try to look up any trace of the Johnny Ives OpenAI partnership, it's all taken down. It's all taken down off the website. And the reason it's taken down off the website is because OpenAI says this page is temporarily down due to a court order. Remember, Johnny Ives was the former Apple guy. OpenAI bought him out for $6.5 billion. Following a trademark complaint about IYO, about our use of the name IO. We don't agree with the complaint and are reviewing our options. So OpenAI is trying to brand this new hardware product they're coming out as IYO. And the problem is IYO is another product that exists, which makes smart earbuds, and they started in 2018. They're alleging that Sam Altman and OpenAI heard their pitch, passed on investing in the company, got Johnny Ive to try it before copying it, and then they bought his company for $6.5 billion, and they're calling it IO. It's almost as if OpenAI stole the idea for apparently, this new hardware device Sam Altman has been talking about. Apparently, it's going to be like headphones that you can talk to, which I don't know if that's going to be replacing the iPhone, but that's what it looks like. And it was in a company called IYO, and they're now calling it IO because that's the collaboration with Johnny Ive. And IYO is suing the crap out of them because they're like, hey, this was our idea. Now, granted, we don't know how the story is going to play out, but there is a guy who has some history of stealing ideas and, kind of turning nonprofits into for-profits after saying that they would never turn into for-profits. And that is none other than Mr. Sam Altman. So this is going to be a very interesting one to see how this plays out. This is the company's website, IYO Audio, IYO.audio, the world's first audio computer. The IYO-1 is a revolutionary new kind of computer without a screen. It can run apps just like your smartphone. The key difference is you talk to it through a natural language interface. That sounds almost exactly what an AI device would look like, right? I mean, like when Sam Altman was saying we've been prototyping this AI device, it's not going to be a phone. It's not going to be something with a screen. It's going to have to be something that just like you can put on your ear, put on your chest, put on your finger, whatever it may be, and then you can talk to it using an interface that's rooted in voice. I personally don't know if that type of a product would succeed. I'm pretty bearish on the whole idea of wearable AI. I've just never understood it as a concept, but if that's what they're going for, it looks like they got to deal with some lawsuits to be able to get this done. Now, granted, OpenAI has $50 billion in cash, so they can kind of do whatever they want. But this is going to be an interesting lawsuit to see play out. And the fact that IYO is actually going forward with this, knowing that OpenAI has the best lawyers in the world, really means they think they have a shot. Or at least they want a lot of money if they're going to steal the idea, quote unquote steal, if it is being stolen. So that is one of the controversies we have going on inside of the tech world. To be fair, I've never forgiven him for messing over Elon and then the issue with his sister. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of stuff with Sam Altman from the past that, you know, people get very skeptical on. And I mean, sure, there's nuance to the Elon story, but at the end of the day, from first principles, Elon gave the guys $50 million to build it. Elon has no equity in it anymore because it's not a nonprofit. It turned into a for-profit. And I think Elon's just like, bro, I put in money to help you guys be a hedge against AI that turns evil, because Elon at the time thought Google had too much control over AI. That's why they built something called Open AI. Open AI is not open. It's one of the most closed AI products on the planet. And it's growing really nicely. It'll probably become a $1 trillion company. But at the end of the day, it is not kind of the vision that Elon invested in here. I did not sell my hymns. Not selling it. I am down like $9,000 though. Dude, I was up like 15,000. I was up 15,000 last night. Now I'm down. How much am I down? 9,799. The beauty of the markets, bro. If I sell it, I'll tell you guys I'm selling it. But like, I'm not selling it. Like, there are some moments where, look, your stock gets hit pretty badly. And for those that are really deep in hymns, it sucks. I kind of don't care that much. It's like, it's a small position for me. It is what it is. I'm happy with just holding it and seeing how the story plays out. Do I think it's going back to 20? No, I don't think so. Could I see it going back to 35? Yeah, that's possible. But you don't sell on something like this unless it's a complete thesis breaker, demolishes everything about the company. And from the elementary research I've done, going on the Hymns House podcast, learning as much as I could, I'm like, I don't think a partnership is a thesis breaker for Hymns. I really don't. Maybe I'm wrong. But there's no need to panic and sell and like, well, what am I going to do with the money? Like, you know, it's like, that's the other question. It's like, where do you allocate the capital? And where am I going to make back that 9,000 as quickly as I lost it? Probably, you know, there's not that many places unless I was trading it somewhere, and I'm not. It's an investment. So we will keep it. I am with everyone who is feeling the hymns pain today. And the one thing I'll say is, again, dude, as an investor, these moments will happen. It will happen. It's like, you just have to deal with it. Like, it is what it is. You have to deal with, sometimes you buy a stock and the stock gets hit off a headline that you didn't see coming, and you move on from it. I remember Robinhood May of 2024. They were at 1850 in the pre-markets. Everything was amazing. Literally at 9:25, right before I went live. Or no, this is not 9:25. I used to go I was in DC with Arnie. I think I was going live at like 8:50 that day. At like 8:45-ish, they came out. There's a press release that came out, a Wells notice from the SEC about suing Robinhood. I don't even know why they wanted to sue them. But then, boom, hood tank like 15%. It's like, you know, if you panic sell in those moments, you kind of lose the grasp of a long-term investment thesis here. So unless this is an absolute thesis breaker for what Hims is doing, and this entire community had completely gone the wrong direction in terms of their DD, which is possible. Maybe the entire community is wrong about this stock, and all the people that have been contributing countless hours of due diligence here are all wrong. They all missed the entire thesis, and you know, they're all incorrect. Maybe that's true. But if it's not, then this is just a hiccup, and it could get worse. But it's not something I think you panic on. But yes, I agree with Melanie says, if you really feel anxious about this, if you really are scared, you know, if this is a lot of money that you're down right here, you have to reassess, right? Like, what is it in the context of your personal financial position and Does it require taking a loss? Can you get away with some tax benefits here and reallocate the capital? But I wouldn't sell it just because you're down. I would sell it because you've done enough research to be like, yeah, I lost faith. Then you don't want to hold on to anything you lose faith in. And it's tough to admit you lose faith, but sometimes you lose faith and you move on. And sometimes you have all the faith in the world and you're wrong. This is why investing is so hard, right? We talked about that Mark Andreessen study that he showed today. 90% of the value that has come from the stock market has come from 2% of the companies in the public stock market. So it is hard to find winners. It's not easy. But if you believe in it, then you believe in it. And yeah, as per Nick's point, HIMS is still up 40% in the last 2 months. So it's also one of those things where it's like, look, it was great that it was a high flyer, but it's not like the stock is now down year to date for some reason here. Okay, so that's what we got in the context of everything going on with HIMS. Kris says, give him a call. All right, let's get Kris right here on the phone. Let's see if we can get some thoughts from Mr. Kris. StreamYard. All right, Kris, let's send you to StreamYard. Let's get Kris right here onto the show. Any thoughts on the Holtec International IPO? I have no idea what that is. Holtec International. Did they file to go public? I have to look into that one. I did not. I think the next big IPO is, if I'm not wrong. Well, no, it's not this. This one's probably a couple months out. I was going to say Klarna, but they're still 2 months out. Canva, which I really want to get into, Canva did a sale in the secondary markets at $37 billion. So they're not going public yet, but they did sell some shares at $37 billion. And that's actually really exciting to me because maybe they're looking to go public. Canva has 220 million monthly active users. FICO, by the way, up about 4.23%. This one got hit badly from 2,200 all the way down to 1,496. Slight recovery right here, back at 1,800. Canva has 220 million active users. I use the product every day. I think it's a very easy business model to understand, SaaS business. Is it worth 37 to 40 billion? I'm really interested in looking towards their S1. But if they're doing anywhere near, $4 to $5 billion of revenue, and if they have adjusted EBITDA margins of upwards of 65%, I think that would be a little bit interesting to look into. So hopefully we get more updates on that into the summer. But that one, for those that don't know, canva.com, it's like an Adobe for like dummies. Like if you don't know how to design a thumbnail on Photoshop, you use Canva. And most of the world happens to be dummies. And 220 million of them, including myself, when it comes to graphic design, are using Canva. Kris, what's up?
Nothing much, man. Just celebrating APAC not getting its way with us launching boots on the ground in Iran. Loving that. Like Trump is pretty much making it clear, like he's not willing to do a ground invasion, and the most he'll do is just airstrikes, which is fine by me as long as no American boots are on the ground in Iran. I'm totally for it. So
what is your take on the show that was done today around Trump letting the Iranian officials attack in order to just like kind of move on from all this?
I mean, it's not like we didn't know it was coming, right? So our anti-air defenses were ready to go. So I think there was actually warning by the Iranians too, like that they were going to attack us. So it wasn't like anything major. And not to mention, we have some really good surface-to-air defenses, missile defenses. So like the Patriot missiles, and there's a whole bunch of things, but it worked out well.
Okay, VG, I already asked you. I don't think you had an answer, but everyone's still asking, why is this thing down 12%?
Yeah, I mean, VG did get a huge premium because of the possible Iran/US war situation, like a lot of the oil companies, right? Oil and natural gas companies. So a lot of people were very bullish on that, and it did ride up really fast, really high. So I think today we're just seeing a normal market retracement. I mean, did you see my post on Twitter with responding to Andrew Tate? How just bring that up real quick.
Wait, Andrew Tate had a take on oil?
Yeah, he was saying that like oil would spike to 120.
Let's play this. Let's play this. What is
Yeah.
this?
This is a pretty easy guess to make. The world's most advanced technical weaponry is going to be flying all over the Middle East where oil is produced. Shipping is going to become difficult. Airspace will shut down. Instability in the region. And oil is required for everything. It's required for every car, petrochemicals, plastics, etc. Probably one of the most used things on the planet. And the place it is produced in is about to enter a stage of war. World War III, perhaps. The price of oil should skyrocket. The reason the world is a complete mess is not because I can put 10 or 20 million into oil futures and make a quick return. It's a mess because I can probably make a higher return on random meme coins that have no utility, no value. They don't power any vehicles. They don't do anything important. They're just a giant Ponzi scheme. Because we're now living in a world where the young generation understands they're never going to escape the matrix via hard work or dedication or building anything of value. Their only chance of getting out is gambling on junk and hoping to dump it on somebody else, using them as exit liquidity so they can be rich enough to afford rent while everybody else starves. If the fact World War III will not give me a higher return on oil prices than I can get on a random meme coin that means nothing at all, doesn't show you exactly how broken our monetary system is, you don't have a clue the mess you're living
in. Okay, what was your response?
So I had to politely remind the gentleman that even though like Iran could possibly create some noise, if you look at the spare capacity that the OPEC has, right, it's enormous. So Saudi, UAE could just start pumping oil like crazy and basically stabilize prices. So if oil prices were to spike, first and foremost, you would see a lot more pumping from the OPEC countries, which, by the way, OPEC almost 3 weeks ago, they started pumping a lot more oil. So it's not like, oh my God, like there's some kind of glut in the system and we don't have enough oil and that's what's going to cause prices to spike. Then if you scroll down, you're going to see another thing, which was U.S. production of oil. Like right now at $70 a barrel, I would say maybe the Permian and some other parts of the country could produce oil at break-even prices. But the minute oil shoots up above 85, you would see a huge amount of production in the U.S. take over, which case now it would cause downward pressure on oil again. And the last thing, which is probably the most important thing, which is China gets almost 60% of its oil and natural gas from the Middle East and through the Strait of Hormuz. And the main backer of Iran politically is China. So China's the one that could keep these guys on a leash. So all this talk about oil getting to 120 was BS. Like that's not going to happen, you know.
Dude, that's some pretty solid analysis, Kris. That's some really good analysis here.
Yeah, I mean, so that's one thing. So like I said, to me it was predictable to see that like once this was somewhat over, oil prices would come down. Trump also has to deal with the inflation narrative, so that's why he tweeted the thing with oil today, right? He basically
like, hey, I'm watching all that stuff. Yeah.
So he basically jawboned the market, and so this is where we are in the current situation now. Venture Global, they took a hit because they had a huge war premium which went down, but that doesn't mean that the company's bad by any means. It just means that it went from fair value to a little bit above fair value to now back down to fair value again. So the key here is for Venture Global, like long term, what is your belief in this company? Right now it's trading at $40 billion market cap, right? If they're projected to do in the next couple of years $8 to $10 billion in EBITDA, that gives it about what, like enterprise value of about between 80 and 100 billion. Yeah. And then you take out the debt that it's going to incur plus the cash flow, you minus that out, you're looking at between 50 to 60 billion dollars in market cap by 2020, like the end of 2026, 2027. Right? So in that regards, it's pretty much fair value. It's not the most complicated thing. So, I think whatever
it's down from 19 where it pumped aggressively, right? So
yeah,
like, I think it's kind of people.
Look at the chart. Look at the 1 month chart. It went from literally like $7-8 to like almost 20. Look at that.
Yeah,
that's why me and Matt in our portfolio, we sold covered calls on it. We sold $20 covered calls expiring next month. We got a nice premium off of it, and we're chilling.
Well, Kris, I do have to thank you because I feel like your post against Andrew Tate avenges this long-standing history I have with this guy. As you can see right here. For those that don't know, I asked why Bitcoin was tanking on June 2024 or June 23rd, 2024. Basically, dude, it's 1 year anniversary of this. Holy crap.
Really?
Literally a year ago, I said, why is Bitcoin tanking? And Andrew Tate said, because you're gay. So I appreciate you making him look like a clown around oil because obviously the dude doesn't really understand it that well. All right, let's talk about UNH, and then I want to ask you about him. So you were bullish on this basically a couple weeks ago. I bought some spreads. You bought some spreads, some different strikes. I think you bought some of the same spreads here today.
Yep.
Why do you think it's down? And then B, why are you buying the 420-460s for December 2027?
A couple of reasons. Number one, I think this is a very undervalued company relative to what its total market impact is in the country. It's a very strong business with a huge durable moat that can't be replicated for the next like 10, 15 years. Like a lot of people just think like, oh, it's an insurance company. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe you're looking at just one part of the business, but if you look at its Optum side of the business, it's a whole different thing. So, I mean, one of these days, maybe like in a month or two, we can actually like sit down and do like real due diligence, like from ground up, just going through every single line by line of what United Healthcare is all about and why it's likely to recover in the future, So I think a lot of people, they look at United right now and they're looking at the short-term headlines, but what they don't see is all the stuff that's happening in the background, and also some of the strategic moves that United Healthcare is making. And they do this not regularly, but they tend to, they tend to do this once in a while to really get things running. I mean, I think
also the insiders are buying.
Well, yeah, insiders are buying, and then there's that thing that we saw on this weekend with employees who can buy stock at a 10% discount. I mean, you're talking about a bunch of doctors who've got tons of money. They're going to be buying this thing hand over fist, And so, yeah, like I said, it's a blue chip. To me, when I look at the business, it's a blue chip business with a very strong business model.
In terms of the spreads, so you bought the same ones, 420, 460. Any logic on kind of why you like those?
I was surprised that we were actually able to get fills on those.
Yeah.
Because typically with leaps, what tends to happen is you have this huge wide bid and ask. So in order to get things filled, sometimes you have to get, overpay a little bit. And so that's never fun. But then when you sent me that screenshot, I was like, wait a second. This is actually like, are they actually filling at this price? So I don't know what the hell happened, but they actually did fill, which was surprising. So
yeah, I bought 5 at a time. The first 5 I actually got at 815. The other 5 I got at 830. So average 823. But it's a 5x roundabout if it goes up 50% in 2.5 years. That's not crazy.
So if you guys, and this is just options 101. One of the things, if you ever buy a long-term contract, a leap contract, it's not just about buying, but also about the liquidity when you try to sell, right? So go back to Robinhood real quick if you can, and just go to the
simulate returns.
No, not the simulated returns. Look at the options, but I want you to show everyone the open interest on the calls for UNH going that far out to December 2027.
Okay, give me 1 sec. I need to refresh this. Yeah, I mean, I didn't check the open interest, but I would imagine it wasn't as aggressive. Okay, so let me share December. So the 420 that I bought, 32. Wow, I own 10 of them.
So you see that there's only 32 open contracts on it. Now, which is probably not updated because I bought the volume is 162. You see that?
That's still nothing though.
Huh?
That's still nothing.
Exactly. There's not a lot, right? And now go to the June, the other ones that I have, which is the June. There you go. Yep. And look at the $400 calls on those.
It's 12,000.
right? So there's huge liquidity there. So you see the bid and ask price right there. It's between 37 and 38.50. You see how close that is?
Yeah.
So whenever you have a ton of open interest, you get a better bid and ask. And so remember, when you're doing multi-legged options contracts, right? Like when you're doing a spread, you're not only trying to do a bid and ask on the buy, but you're also trying to do a bid and ask on the sell. So if you go to the same thing, now go to the $500 one.
500 is 2,000 open
right?
interest.
So you see that. So you see almost 2,000 open contracts, but let's say go to 490.
There's nothing.
Almost just 100.
Yeah.
Look at the bid and ask, like how wide it is sometimes. So
Yeah.
the key here is when there's open interest, that's like not like what's that thing called? That's not that much. That means that usually you're not going to get good bid and ask fills.
And on the 460, there's only 72 that are open. Wow.
Right.
I'm surprised we got those fills, bro. I really am.
That's what I was surprised at too. So when you sent it to me, bro, I logged on to Fidelity. I sold some bullshit that I had. I was like, bye. I was like, yo, let me get this. Because from a risk to reward standpoint, it was an easy buy,
Yeah, even I was like, because Steve and I were talking about it last night, but the fear I had was that it's not going to fill. But then today it filled. I'm like, all right, well, I guess there's liquidity available for it.
Yeah.
Okay, Kris, Himmy Hims, what is your take as a seasoned investor on what you're seeing happen with this stock?
I mean, I think it got a really big boost because of the GLP-1s. And now, some of it's just headline news that's dragging them down. To be honest, Novo Nordisk and Ozempic are technically losing a lot of market share. Eli Lilly is killing them right now. There are more prescriptions for Zepbound and Mounjaro by the day. So go to Google, type in Mounjaro, like total scripts, Mounjaro versus Ozempic. So Ozempic is the name brand for semaglutide, and what is that thing called? And Mounjaro is the brand name for trizepatide. And trizepatide scripts are like on a vertical, like going higher and higher. The other ones are actually starting to decline. So you see that Mounjaro right there? Yeah. Mounjaro has seen significant increase in prescriptions, almost 38%, right? During the same period. Ozempic saw a decline of 3.22%. So that whole thing that I guess the CEO, I don't know who retweeted on Twitter about what is that thing called? About Hims recommending other medications, right? That could possibly be a problem where maybe the providers were actually requesting Mounjaro to their respective people and not this one, which was Ozempic.
Which is why Novo got mad, essentially.
Right. And so even if you look, there's like slower, like there's like versions that are like specifically built for that. So they're not generics, but so what's his Ozempic's version is called, God, I can't believe, I don't remember. Wegovy. And the other one for Eli Lilly is called Zepbound. And so Zepbound is just absolutely insane, its growth trajectory.
So more people are buying the fat shot drug from Eli Lilly over Novo, is your point?
Yes, absolutely.
Gotcha.
Now, there is another drug that's coming out from Novo Nordisk that theoretically could have some, better efficacy, but that's still in research mode right now. So if you look at my Twitter, I actually posted about that. My sister-in-law, who's an endocrinologist, she's at a conference right now, and kind of like, they were all talking about it and stuff. So it's a very interesting development that's happening. So, these things are going to come and they're going to go, and, all these things are going to happen. So it just depends on how Hims is going to tackle this.
So that's a good high-level overview. But for those that are feeling the pain of down 37%, how do you kind of think they should navigate this? I mean, do you think this is a thesis breaker? I know you don't follow Hims that much, but how are you thinking of it?
I mean, they don't own any of the IP for the semaglutide. I mean, all they really do is compound it and sell it. Now, if you really look at the research, semaglutide is supposed to be going generic in 2026, but it's also got like additional patents on it, like use patents that could theoretically, keep the thing from going like full generic. So I'm not a pharmacist. That's something that a pharmacist is much better at answering. So I'm gonna leave it at that. But I do know that Novo Nordisk is looking to kind of boost its GLP-1, in the future, and they might have to do it through a new drug that has, better results for patients. But right now, Eli Lilly is definitely getting a crap ton more patients than Novo Nordisk.
By the way, I'm so happy you said it wrong, so that I'm not the only person who would say it wrong. But here's how you say it. Here it is.
Semaglutide.
Semaglutide.
Dude, I'm happy you had to take the burden of saying it, because I would not get that right.
I mean, the way that I think everyone says semaglutide or semaglutide,
No, the whole chat's
whatever.
like you're saying it wrong.
I don't even know how they come up with a lot of these names, bro. It's like,
So you wouldn't buy the dip on Hims?
I'm not a Hims guy, man. I don't see a strong moat in the business, So I don't know.
It's a fair point. Fair point.
And that's not a knock on anyone who is a Hims shareholder. By the way, you guys have been killing it. So, all power to you guys. You guys caught something at a very early stage. You made a lot of money on it. You guys are way smarter when it comes to this stuff than I am. I mean, I never did the full on DD on Hims because it's just, I'm just not like that well versed on it, and nor do I have enough latitude to discover that whole segment. So, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, that is fair. That is very fair. Kris, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Chris's Twitter right here in the chat. Some great analysis on oil and what's going on in those markets. And yeah, we'll talk to you later during the week.
Later. Have a good one, brother.
Later. All right, folks. That is pretty much it for us today. We are pretty much done. Those were the main headlines today. Nothing too crazy. Talked about the OpenAI stuff. Talked about Tesla a lot in the morning. Tesla, great day. Him still, obviously getting hit after hours, but it's going to be a question of kind of where your thesis is on this name. Apple right here, 201. Palantir, 2% day, not too bad, 139.83. And then Tessie, 350. Currently right now after hours. Oh, I have the Miami meetup form. I don't think I put it in the chat in the morning. Let me put it, or maybe I did. I don't think I did. Maybe I did last night, but here's the Miami meetup form. And we're doing it most likely August 23rd. Still working out the details, but most likely August 23rd. Kris will probably be there. Hopefully we can get Matt Money and Tanner to come down as well. But Kris will be there. Do I say currently right now? Do I say that? Is that something I say, bro? Currently right now? That's the first time I say currently. Right? I didn't even know I say currently. Dude, I have some phrases that I probably say all the time that you guys are tired of. But it comes in waves. Like remember, okay, for the OGs, remember writ large? I would say writ large all the time. I don't even know where I learned writ large from. And I was using it the wrong way too. Like I would be like, well, writ large across the market. It's like that's not how you use it. Currently right now, huh? I did not know that was a phrase of mine. Dude, I can't believe this is the 1 year anniversary of this. Literally June 23rd, the 1 year anniversary of freaking Tate saying because you're gay. In the context, okay, I definitely say in the context of a lot. I feel like I use that a decent amount. There's only so many words you can say when you're speaking for 10 hours, right? Like you gotta, at some point, you're gonna repeat a lot of these phrases. Yesterday night, oh my gosh. Yesterday night's a good one, dude. That's a hell of a phrase. That's a good one. Guys, yesterday night, that's a good one. Paradigmatically, okay, I use that to sound intellectual. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. It is what it is. But I like that. Oh, okay. LinkedIn, dude. I got to show you. So I am cleaning up my LinkedIn and I'm getting back to reposting. This is the last thing we'll do. Then we'll be done for today. Daily recap, by the way, we'll be back. I know last week we didn't do a lot of daily recaps because every day there was like another live stream after the market close, but we'll be back with daily recap starting today. I found some crazy post that I've been trying to clean up on. I just posted like my recover post on LinkedIn. A bit aggressive. Okay, I do use a bit aggressive a lot as well. I use that one a lot. So you guys can read it if you want. You can follow me on LinkedIn. I'm not really interested in creating a brand on LinkedIn. I just feel like in general I should be engaging with multiple platforms, and I'm on X and YouTube all day. I feel like I should be diversifying a little bit more. But I was going through some of my old posts, and some of this stuff is hilarious. But one of these posts was actually about none other. Do I still have it? Do I still have it right here? Oh, yeah. Look at this. Look at this, bro. 5 years ago. Look at this. You cannot say your boy has not always been bullish. Look at this. 5 years ago. I'm not going to lie, but Robinhood is an amazing app. I'm at the doctor's office on my phone with the same opportunity to trade stocks that people on Wall Street have as the market opens at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. This app is quite literally democratized and made easy the buying and trading of stocks. Just to think, if my parents put their disposable cash into FANG stocks 10 years ago, they just had no clue what investing even was. The new generation has to switch it up and bring in wealth for the family. Hashtag stocks, hashtag trading, hashtag investments. Your boy's been bullish hood for a long time. Tesla's acting crazy? What do you mean Tesla's acting crazy? What's going on with Tesla? Oop, it's down. Red candle, 350 to 345. Let me see if there's any news. It could just be algo selling. I mean, Tesla had a monster day. People could be taking profits. And then I got to show you something else on LinkedIn that you guys are. Oh, hold on. What is this? NHTSA contacts Tesla on Robotaxi issues seen in online videos. Wait, this is an important agency. What is this agency? U.S. Department of Transportation, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration contacts Tesla on Robotaxi issues seen in online videos. Okay, so the feds are reaching out. That's actually not that bearish. The feds are reaching out. All right, so the feds want to know more about Robotaxis. How's that bearish? That's not bearish. Yeah, there's going to be some mistakes, of course. Like, it's not going to be perfect, but that's not going to be, okay, you know, we're going to get rid of Robotaxi regulation forever. That's nothing, bro. The feds want a dip. That's what the feds want. They want a freaking dip. How is this bearish, bro? I mean, I get how the market could sell it off because the market's scared or whatever, but like, it's not actually bearish. I mean, like, they're going to reach out to Waymo too when Waymo starts publicizing all of their mistakes, because Waymo has tons of mistakes as well. So I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. Doesn't seem like that's too crazy. Okay, cool. Do you guys want to see the next thing? The next thing's kind of embarrassing though for me. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing for me, but it also kind of proves how much I love being on stage. So I will show you guys if you want to see it. It's like, I can't believe I posted this shit on LinkedIn, bro, 5 years ago. Test right here, 345 after hours. Yeah, this is a nothing burger, bro. This is not that big of a deal. And like, look, even if it goes back to 330, dude, whatever. It was at freaking 315 last week. So it's already gapping up a little bit right back to 347. I don't think this would be this big of a deal. Was this your popcorn consulting? Oh my goodness, dude. Oh my gosh. So much stuff from the past on LinkedIn. All right, no, let me show you guys. So can I play this without getting demonetized? Hold on. Give me a second. Let me see. Okay, I think I can. So all right, that's how we're going to end up the show. I was a big Michael Jackson fan, okay? Ever since he died in 2009. I wasn't young enough or old enough. I was young when I was born in 97, so I didn't really discover Michael Jackson until he passed away. I was really inspired by Michael Jackson. You guys know that I wanted to be the next Michael Jackson in terms of being this big performer. Ended up not being able to sing or dance, so I kind of culminated that talent that I desperately wanted in music via speaking, because I did have a little bit better of an understanding of how to communicate via words versus songs. and manifested that through my love for the stock market. And now I'm here today. Having said that, I was a big Michael Jackson fan, and I engaged in performing some of his songs. And so this is not even the video from when I was in 7th grade. This is from when I was a sophomore. Your boy was asked by the music band director in sophomore year. I played the trumpet. He was like, "Hey, Amit, we're going to do a rendition of Billie Jean. Can you moonwalk on the stage for us?" And I was like, "Yes, sir. I'll do it because I love the stage." So this is the caption, and then we'll play it right here. So I said, "Man, I'm serious. I have always just embraced the stage and wanted to be on it. I just can't get enough of it." This is a clip from 6 years ago at my sophomore high school winter concert. I played the trumpet. Our band was performing a Michael Jackson melody. I told my band director I used to impersonate MJ and have performed Billie Jean many times on stage. He asked me to do a quick bit during the performance. I said yes. Always say yes. I guess I was trying to be motivational there or something. The memories you make from saying yes, the thrill and excitement from saying yes, the confidence you get from saying yes, it's unexplainable. This is the cringe LinkedIn content, bro. Enjoy a 16-year-old Amit moonwalking on stage. We'll never forget how awesome and amazing this was. It's only 15 seconds, but here it goes. Here it goes. All right, you guys ready? Here it goes. This was me moonwalking on stage. That's it. That's it. That was me moonwalking. Now, the actual video of me performing Billie Jean, like full 4 minutes of me performing Billie Jean. That's my quant. Your quant was moonwalking sophomore year at the winter concert. The actual video of me performing Billie Jean, I don't know if I can show that because that is cringe on a different level. That was 6th grade. I had the white glove. I was on stage. I lip synced for 4 minutes. I think it was like 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Billie Jean, the entire thing. I think it was actually like 5 or 6 minutes, to be honest. I have the video on Facebook. And maybe one day we get close enough for me to show that video. But that one, I haven't seen it in years, bro. So I'm not watching it again. I'm not watching it. But that video is like full on me holding a fake mic saying the kid is not my son. Like, just, I didn't even know what that meant, bro. Like, Billie Jean is a song about a girl who Michael Jackson has coitus with, and then the girl gets pregnant, and she says that MJ is the father, and MJ's like, or I don't think they ever did anything because MJ's like, I don't even know this girl. Maybe they did do something, and MJ still says that. But the whole point of the song is like, hey, I'm getting so famous, all these girls are claiming that I'm the father of their kids, when in reality, I don't even know who they are. That's the point of the song. So I didn't know that was the point of the song. I just like the freaking dancing and seeing him on Motown and doing the moonwalk. Like I was 12 years old. I just enjoyed the art of MJ doing it. Don't show Tate this footage. Oh my gosh, bro. But I got so obsessed with like the art of performing, and I am very grateful for just taking those chances, taking those risks. I ended up doing it 3 times. Once in 6th grade, once in 7th grade, both at 2 different talent shows. 7th grade was a new school I was in. 6th grade was the old school. And then once in another new school in the sophomore winter concert. So I love the idea of like, hey, I'm on stage, I'm performing. And if I can perform in a way that gets people to feel a certain emotion, whether it's cringe or whether it's like, hey, impressed, which, I mean, look, like any 6th grader at a talent show is going to be cringe. Like you can't, like my Michael Jackson performance was cringe, but everything that the 6th grader would be doing is cringe, right? So it was all cringe, but I think it created the foundational elements for me to be here today. The definition of you can just do things. Exactly. The definition of you can just do this. And again, like this is kind of, this is credit to my mom, who kind of raised me with the idea of saying yes, taking the risk, failing, getting back up, trying to do it. I won 1st place in both of those talent shows, by the way. So, I mean, the audience definitely enjoyed it. And you can only really know what it feels like to be judged by the masses if you put yourself out in front of the masses. And quite frankly, if you thrive on the idea of actually entertaining the masses and informing the masses in a way that meaningfully allows you to feel the essence of what I've always wanted to feel ever since I really started falling in love with performance, which is the ability to create, which again is a privilege to do every day, then you got to take some risks. And so I'll share the video one day, bro. One day I'll share the video. I got to find it. It's somewhere in Facebook. I have the video for sure. It's just in Facebook somewhere. But yeah, mom said, don't be a bitch. Exactly. You know, the reason this started is, again, see, I was supposed to leave 10 minutes ago. This is like this every day. This freaking happens. When I was 5 years old, was I 5? No, I was 7. 2004. We were at a community talent show. It wasn't a school talent show. It was this community talent show in this new apartment complex we moved to. And you know, Danny Phantom, I think I told this story before. Danny Phantom, the Nickelodeon song. I was really into rapping back then. And so the Danny Phantom theme song on Nickelodeon was a rap. And so I like memorized the rap and I started like performing it for my mom at home in front of my parents. And my mom wanted me to perform it in front of the community at this like community-wide talent show. And we had just moved in like December of 2004. So we were new entrants to the community. And so she signs me up for this. And then I get on stage, they give me the mic, they play the instrumental. It's time for me to rap. And I like forget all the words. I get scared as hell. I drop the mic and I just run off the stage. It's one of those classic moments that you've seen in a movie, right? Where someone's on stage, they forget the words and they just get so scared. And I go downstairs to the basement, I start crying. And I mean, the memory of this is etched into my head. I remember my mom came downstairs and the first thing she said was like, so what? So what? She was like, so, okay, cool. Like, yeah, like that was embarrassing. You dropped the mic and you didn't really drop the mic. You actually like kind of messed up and dropped the mic, but it is what it is. And so what? You got to move on. And I think I've always kept that mentality. You literally went ghost on. All right, John, you win today. That comment wins. That's how we close the show. That's how we close the show. Danny Phantom was a literal ghost for those that have never watched the show. That's good, dude. This is the best chat on YouTube. It's the best chat. It is what it is, the best chat on YouTube. So yes, I went ghost on them. But again, my mom was just like, so what? You move on. Who cares? And you know, that mentality I think is really important if you're gonna ever build something in public for people. So there you go. There you go. I literally went ghost on them. You need to rap for us now. No, now I don't rap anymore. But I had my phase. I'm telling you, like, even when I was younger, whether it was Nickelodeon theme songs or whether it was Michael Jackson, like, I loved performing. I just discovered MJ when he died. And then I, like, you know, like, there's, and I know MJ is very controversial. He's had his past. I get it. But the art of his music and his performance to me is something that I've always kept very special to my heart. And that really got me thinking, like, yo, could I be the next big performer? And the answer was no. You can't sing. Like, you're not going to do it. Like the dreams of wanting to be the next big pop star were crushed by high school when I realized I can't sing and I can't dance, and so I'm never really going to be that. And so the reality of that comes in. But I think the beauty of life is if you can achieve the essence of that dream to an extent in an alternate reality that is not the same version of reality that you thought it would be, because the actual manifestations of what's real comes into place. But in that new reality, which is a reality where I can talk, even if I can't sing, can I still get the essence of that dream that I've wanted to live? And because of this channel, you know, I've been able to achieve that to an extent. So that's why I'm incredibly grateful for all those experiences at the end of the day. Exactly. It's still allowing me to be an artist to an extent without performing and being the type of artist I want to be. Because again, the type of artist I wanted to be, I really was convinced for like a good decade of my life I was going to be a music star. And then you grow up, like you know, everyone's convinced they have these dreams, and then you realize, like, everyone, you know, all these people that want to be basketball players, like, they realize they suck at basketball. They're not going to be as good as LeBron James, so you're not going to get into the NBA. It is what it is. But how do you still achieve some level of that dream, even if it's in a different version of life? I think that's what really is the takeaway here. Beepster, thank you for the 20 euro super chat. That was not bad at all. You know, those are pounds, right? Those are pounds. Those are definitely pounds. Those are definitely pounds. Tell me those. Yo, those are pounds. I got it. Those are pounds. Thank you for the 20 pounds. You know, I have stopped saying not bad at all. For all the phrases we're talking about, I have really not said not bad at all in a while. I know I say in the context of like crazy. I know I say yesterday night. I know I say currently right now. And then what's the other one I say? What's the other one you guys? There's another one you guys were talking about, but I've stopped saying writ large and I've stopped saying not bad at all. Oh, on the day. Dude, I say that so much. I was like, all right, Hims is down 5% on the day. Robinhood up 2% on the day. I say on the day a decent amount. Yeah, I also stopped saying but. Yeah, I used to do that as well. I think I got that from my mom, to be honest. I think she used to say that. Mitt was almost Jay Sean. Dude, Jay Sean was like the closest thing we had to an Indian Michael Jackson. This guy had some hits, bro. He just never ended up becoming like as big as what he was also a Brit. He was an Indian Brit. He had a big song with Lil Wayne. Big Beepster, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you, man. Means a lot. And thank you for being here and keeping up with the content. All right, cool. I think that's it. I think we're done for today. Yeah, other than all this Iran charades of having attacks, but not really having those attacks because they're coordinated, that's it. I mean, this saga might be coming to an end. Maybe the escalations are done. The Qataris, Israelis, the United States, and the Iranians all coordinated today. Looks like it's over with. And if that's the case, markets can climb that wall of worry and move on. So I think we are done for the day. Claps hands is another one. That is something I do every day. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Okay, I say that a lot as well. I say that a decent amount. We'll keep going from there. Damn, bro, you guys really know all the different freaking phrases I say. Again, dude, when you're talking, for 10 hours, you kind of repeat the same stuff. But Rock Lab's 33 after. Where's Tesla? Are they still tanking because of the feds? Tesla 346, that is down. Rock Lab, wow, dude, 33 after hours. I don't know why this thing caught a bid along with ASTS. ASTS almost 51, but both of them getting a lot of love today. 10%. 10%. Okay, I do say, oh my goodness, as well. I'm not calling Steve. Yeah, that's another one. Dude, I bet you, how much you guys want to bet? I will bet so much money that Steve did not buy those UNH spreads. Steve always has an idea with me. He pitches the idea. I don't believe in all of his ideas, but when I believe in one of them, I take it seriously. And I bought the freaking UNH spread today. I will bet you he did not buy the UNH spreads. I will bet you. In fact, let's call him right now. Let's see if he picks up. We're not going to talk long to him, but let's just see if he picks up, and I'll ask him. He's probably not going to pick up because he's busy. Yeah, look, he sent me straight to voicemail. I told you he's in a meeting. I bet you he did not buy those spreads, bro. I think it's a good move. I think it's not crazy, bro. Like either UNH gets back to some level of normal and you can get a 5x on that if you're patient for 2.5 years, or, it kind of is a dud, but I think the risk reward on this is rather serious. I'm not calling Steve. Proceeds to call Steve. All right, I'll ask him later tonight, but I'm pretty sure he didn't get those spreads. He was talking a big game last night. He's like, I'm going to open up Fidelity tomorrow. I'm going to buy so many of these spreads. I'm like, he didn't buy shit, bro. He's every time, bro. And if UNH goes up, he's never going to forgive himself. If this thing gets anywhere near 350, he's going to be mad about it. And so I'll ask him later today to see if he does. Mate, I'm not used to shorter streams. Stay on till 6. Well, we don't have earnings until July 11th, so I don't think the streams will be as long every single day. This is kind of the part of the year. We have a good 2 weeks in between earnings every cycle. That's when the streams are a little bit shorter. I mean, it's still an hour and 30 minutes, but it's not, and 2 hours and 30 minutes. The morning streams still end up being, today it was like almost 3.5 hours. But we do have Nike this week, Micron this week, and then Technical Tuesday tomorrow. We have to end at 6:25 because I have to go somewhere. So that's not going to go until like 7:30, but we still will have a ton of TA that we look at next week as well. Yeah, and a lot of time they're his ideas. He has all these ideas, but he ends up kind of not pulling the trigger on a ton of them. I mean, even if he buys it tomorrow and UNH gaps up, like still, I think the risk reward is not that bad. No, it's not date night. I actually have to go to my mom's friend's house for some family reason or whatever. So she really wanted me to my mom really wanted me to come with her to the house. So that's why. Yo, Uzi, is your manager still gone? Because you made a big deal about not being part of the streams 2 weeks ago. Every single day. Now, I'm happy you're here. I'm just saying. Feels like that new job's not stopping you from joining the streams, which is good. It's not an arranged marriage, bro. Goodness gracious. You guys really think I'm going to get an arranged marriage, bro? I don't want to get an arranged marriage. I think I don't think I'm going to need to get an arranged marriage. Ed, thank you for becoming a channel member. Appreciate it. Ed Espinal, thank you for becoming a channel member. Are your grandparents still in town? Yes, till probably July 27th, till the end of July. So they will be here for the next basically month as well. He moved permanently to Chicago? Dude, Uzi, that's clutch, bro. Don't have to worry about your boss every day now, dude. That's amazing. There you go. There you go. So do Indians do arranged gay marriages? That's a good question. I don't think that, there's a show about Indian arranged marriages on Netflix. What's it called? Matchmaking or something? Indian matchmaking? If anyone's curious about the Indian matchmaking arranged marriage process, it's actually a really good show. I've never seen Aunt Seema, which is the name of the matchmaker, do a gay one. I don't think that would happen. Maybe it's been done before, but Seema Auntie, yeah. I don't think that's been done before. So, all right, I think that's it. It's like the 7th time I said it, but now actually it's it. All right, so daily recap will be out in a couple hours. Tech Bros, I'll still be live again later with Tanner and Roy for the Tech Bros pod. So we'll talk about Hood getting into mortgages, probably touch on some Coinbase stuff, Circle, NVIDIA, Google, all that good stuff. And we'll get into that later in the day. 9:30 p.m. Eastern. 9:30 p.m. Eastern for the Tech Bro stream. All right, that's it. I'm done. I'm going to the gym. Had a good last week in the gym. We got to keep that momentum. Going to the gym. I'm out of here. One last clap. We're done. Thank you, everybody. Going to try to burn 1,000 calories now. And I'll be back 9:30. I'll be back at 9:30. All right, everyone. Thank you. See you guys later on the day. Bye, everyone.